Okay, guys, ready?
Готово.
Okay, we're ready. Ladies
Good
and gentlemen,
morning.
we're very
Good
happy to see all of you with our annual meeting in Tümen, and I would like to introduce the hostess, the wonderful person, the chairperson of the organization, Tümen Camp Organization. We are together, the famous person in the world, and of course in Tümen, Larissa Shilova. Larissa, as a hostess, please, couple of words.
Дорогие друзья, добрый вечер, у нас добрый вечер.
Dear friends,
Вам доброго времени суток.
very good evening. We wish you all the best at this time of the day.
Мы рады приветствовать вас хотя бы в системе онлайн, рады видеть вас всех в
We're
здравии.
very happy to see you online, and we're very happy to see all of you in a healthy way.
Надеюсь, что вы все здоровы, не болеете.
We hope that all of you are healthy, that you are not sick.
Мы не могли провести свой семинар без общения с вами, и нам очень важна международная площадка, на которую мы вот сейчас все собрались.
Of course, running our annual seminar in Tümen, we cannot run it without any international presence, and that's why we're very happy that you found the time to be together with us.
Сегодня рядом со мной присутствует Валерий Долгих, наш босс.
Today, together with me, next to me is Valery Dolgich. He is our boss, our leader.
И Валерий Костин, который тоже является членом нашего координационного совета и отвечает за международную повестку.
And Valery Kostin, the person who is in charge for the international context in our organization.
Кратко, Валерий,
Okay.
Долгих слово.
Introduction from Valery.
Еще раз добрый вечер.
Once again, good evening.
Несмотря ни на что, пандемию и все
In spite of
события,
everything, all
нас
the
сближает
pandemic things, all the
детский
events,
лагерь.
all the camps which are uniting us,
Мы продолжаем общаться на
We're very
площадке
happy
Международного содружества
to
лагерей.
continue cooperation in all the camps in all over the world.
С оптимизмом строим планы на
We
будущее.
are building all the plans with the optimism for the future.
Встречаемся в реальности, в онлайн, договариваемся, дружим
And
и
we're very
строим
happy
новые
that in
планы.
spite of everything, we're still having a chance to see each other in real, offline, online, and we're trying to do all the best to keep our contacts alive.
С нетерпением ждем больших встреч, которые нас объединяют.
We're eager to meet again in all different events which unite us.
Сегодня мы мы приветствуем всех, кто сегодня откликнулся на наше приглашение, президента Международного содружества лагерей Фахриддина Газета.
We are very happy that all of you have found the time to be with us, especially the president of the International Camping Fellowship, Фахриддин Газет,
Нашу президента Монгольской ассоциации лагерей Бямбу,
president of Mongolian Camp Association, Bamba Chulten,
Кэти Терсон, США,
our speaker, Katie Thorson from the United States,
директора лагеря из Венесуэлы Луиса Франциско.
our friend Riviera, Luis Francisco Riviera from Venezuela.
Очень рады вновь увидеть лагерь Димитруса Скуроса.
We're very happy to see our friend Dimitris Skouras from Rancho Camp.
Ценим особым отношением Алексию Сидерис,
We value our relationship with Alexei Sideris.
нашего мудрого с бородой Джона Джоргенсена.
Of course, our wisdom person with his wonderful Santa Claus beard, John Jorgensen.
И, конечно же, с нетерпением ждем реальной встречи хозяйку международной конференции, Международного конгресса Каролину Райт.
And of course, we're very eager to meet again in real, the hostess, our host of the International Camping Congress, Carolina Wright-Flash. We're very happy to see all of you. That's why all the greetings from the...
Как я и говорил, мы говорим на 3 темы. Культура нас объединяет.
As we said, we have 3 topics. One of them, culture, which unites us.
Будущее кадры
The future stuff.
И социальные инициативы лагеря.
And social initiatives of the camps. And these are 3 major topics we would like to discuss during this session.
Благодарен за инициативу и благодарю Гвен, модератора, и Валерия, модератора, и с удовольствием передаю вам бразды правления.
Okay, I would like to introduce our friend Gwen and Valery, who will be moderators of this session, and that's why I would like you to run the show right away. And before that, I really would like to introduce Gwen Powell to the Russian audience in Russian language. I think the rest of the people will understand my perfect Russian. Я сказал, перед тем, как начать, я хотел представить нашего модератора Гвен Пауэлл вместе со мной, который будет вести. Гвен Пауэлл действительно является американкой с русской душой. Она является профессором, и очень понравилось ей быть в России. Она приезжала в Россию несколько раз со своими студентами, проводила у них зачеты, проводила летнюю практику здесь по нашему примеру, и с тех пор просто влюблена в Россию, каждый раз приезжает сюда. И с удовольствием согласилась помочь нам найти спикеров для того, чтобы мы сегодня провели успешную встречу. Поэтому, и сегодня среди всех четырех, вернее, среди тех аудиторий, которые здесь находятся, у нас Фахриддин Гозет, Джон Джоргенсон, Гвен Пауэлл, и да, вот все они являются обладателем премии нашей ассоциации, Международной ассоциации содействия детскому отдыху «Лагерь без границ». Все вот, соответственно, люди наградили. Мы их наградили. I also mentioned that from this audience whom we are having today, there are 4 people, Fakhreddin Gozet, John Jorgensen, Gwen Powell, Valery Kostin, who are the receiver or recipients of the award of the Russian Camp Association, the Camp Without Borders. And we're very happy to introduce these people. We're very happy that you're here with us. Okay, Gwen, start with you.
Dobre Vecha, ya очень rada vidit sim. We are happy to see you all, and we are always eager to learn around the world about different ways of doing such important work of helping the next generation understand that the world does not have borders and that we can connect. So thank you so much for inviting us all to be here and connecting. Our first speaker will be Katie Thurston from Clemson University, so she will share her screen and begin.
Сегодня первым выступающим будет Кейти Керсон из Американского университета, Клемсонского университета. Она является аспиранткой этого университета и студенткой Гвен, то есть ее ученицей. И вот у нее сегодня будет своего рода дебют. Okay, Katie, you're welcome. We're ready.
Wonderful. Good morning or good evening. It's good morning in the United States where I am in South Carolina. I'm so happy to be here today to talk to you all about something that I care a lot about in my role at camp as the assistant camp director, which is teaching first-time supervisors how to get work done and the system that we use to do it. So the how of camp is something that we, as camp people and as people who love camp, don't talk about all the time because we're so excited about the why. And I'm not discrediting the why of your organization or the why of your mission and vision statement. That's so important. But when we're thinking about, we have campers that are now first-time counselors and they've completed a summer of camp and they're looking to continue to grow in the organization and continue to grow into your staff family. We have to think about how do we teach the how of camp. And one of the best icebreaker questions I ever heard when I was at a conference for the Foundation for Jewish Camp was the icebreaker was asking you, who taught you how to do camp? And I had to really think about it for a second because I was thinking, I don't know. It's been a second since I was a beginner and I knew, and I had to figure out how to do something for the first time. And that really helped me think about in going into my role at camp where I'm dealing with a lot of, 20 to 21-year-olds who this is their very first experience, to think about how do we explain how to manage and also how to organize your time in the context of camp. So this is the statement that I hear the most when talking to my team, the group of people that I manage. I manage the program team at camp, so roughly 10 to 12 program heads who are in charge of specific areas. And every day, it's usually the same of, I've been running around all day, but and yet the to-do list just keeps growing. It seems like they feel very disheartened that they're not getting the things done that they need to get done. But at the same time, there's this understanding like, but it's camp and it's 100 miles a minute and there's just not enough time. And that's really difficult, I think, especially for young people, coming from a camper perspective or coming from a cabin counselor perspective, to realize that even in the context of the camp day, there's still time to get things done and there's still time to do those things. And it's really important that as much as we love being with kids and we love exposing our campers and counselors to new experiences, being able to do those things in an organized fashion creates a better experience for everyone. So the analogy that we use at camp to explain how to divide your time and how to prioritize things is we call it pebbles, rocks, and boulders. So starting with your pebbles, these are the little tasks that accumulate over time. They're also easily delegated and or moved. So one of my favorite pebbles to talk about is when a counselor stops you, if you're running around in camp and says, I really need a basketball or I really need a soccer ball. That's something really small that you can do in the minute, but if you don't do it right then, it's going to get confusing or someone's going to be without an equipment they need. However, this is a task that does not take a skill. All it takes is being able to go to the sports closet, get the basketball, hand it to the person that you need. So it's something that's very easily delegated. Because something I noticed, especially in working with young people from Gen Z, is that this idea of delegating or asking someone nicely to do something else because you have other things to do was very difficult. There was this idea that I need to be able to do everything by myself. And as we all know from working at camp, it is impossible to do everything by yourself. And if all you focus on are the pebbles, you're only moving a tiny bit every day. You can move 20 pebbles, but if you're only moving 20 pebbles every day instead of a rock or a boulder, there's a lot there's a lot of things that aren't getting done. So rocks are the medium-sized jobs. These are doable in a day or less, but there's some element of planning or collaboration needed. One of the things that my very first camp director liked to say to me, more than I care to admit now, definitely every day, was that poor planning on your part doesn't require an emergency on mine. So she meant just because you don't have it together doesn't mean that I need to now prioritize the fact that you have not, been organized or followed a time schedule. And so this is something, I don't say that because I honestly have so much just like, oh my gosh, she used to say this to me every day. So I don't say that to my staff. But what I do say to them is that if you want help, and we always want help, we always want things to be collaborative, you have to give people time to help you. And you can't be upset, or you shouldn't be upset and feel like no one's helping me when you haven't given anyone the opportunity to help you, because the opportunity for collaboration is not for an evening program in the next week, it's for the evening program that's happening in 20 minutes. And that's really difficult to figure out how people can help you when you're running up against a time crunch, or there's an element of planning or collaboration needed that now there's not time to do.
И, соответственно, на это время здесь на выполнение задачи это уже требовалось побольше времени.
Piece of the analogy is something we call the boulder. So this is something that is going to take a long time. It's not doable in a day. It's something that requires a lot of organization, maybe a lot of moving parts, maybe there's pieces to it because it's a big project that you're working on, thinking about kind of like a capstone. Maybe it's Olympics. We call Olympics Maccabia at camp. So that's a 3-day special event. That's something we really work towards. It's not something we can do in a day. It's not something we can do in 2 days. It's really kind of like the culmination of everything we do at camp. And the biggest things for our counselors to understand is that no one moves a boulder in a day. No one. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job. It doesn't matter if you've been going to camp for years. I've been working at camp for 10 years now. No one can move this boulder in a day, which is why we have to plan. And if we're able to delegate other things, then we can work on our boulder. So some key organizational considerations that we have at camp when we're trying to really use this analogy is you want to identify key tasks, which are dates, special events, staffings, and really think about what does this look like for my camp and for my team. Something my current camp director says is that if you don't write it down, it doesn't get done. You cannot trust your memory. This is something that I use all the time. I tell our staff all the time is that, you can do it different ways. Some people don't like to have their phone on them at camp. That's fine. If you do, that's fine. But if someone tells you something, you have to write it down, especially when you're in a leadership role at camp. Walking from one side of camp to the other, it's really just getting asked 10 to 20 different things, and you can't remember those things, and you want to be able to deliver on your promises, because that's how you're building relationships with your campers and with your cabin staff. The next thing is to update your list and share it with your team, which we'll talk about on the next slide. And the very last one is something that I think I would assume lots of other camps say, but I think it's worth repeating, is that if you don't debrief, it didn't happen. So if you're not talking about what went wrong, what went right, what you want to start, what you want to stop, and what you want to continue, then you're really losing out on this wonderful opportunity to continually improve your programs. Something I think camp people, at least at Camp Seek, my camp, something we're really not good at doing is evaluating things right after they happen. We wait until the end of the summer where you're trying to summarize 7 weeks of camp into, well, what do we want to change? What do we want to do differently? Instead of being able to really track and see where did we end up spending a lot of our time? What were the pebbles that we were kicking around that we could try and get rid of next summer? What ended up being the boulders, and how can we move those things around? So I have something to share with you. So this is essentially how I did this for my team at camp. So there's a QR code that you can scan with your phone that has a copy of this template that you can use. So you can copy this and use it for your own camp and change it if you'd like. So the reason we did it like this is because this was a summarized version of everyone's to-do list. So as you can see, here are all the items that we had to do. And obviously it was much longer than this because it was the whole summer. And then we had a drop down of the person. So everyone had a color. And then we had where things were kind of in the queue in progress. And then we had this category where they could choose boulder, rock, or pebble. And this was really, really helpful for my team and I to realize kind of who was being tasked a lot for big projects and who was dealing with little projects, and how can we more equitably share those? Because if you'll notice right now, Matt has a lot of boulders to do because he's our scheduling admin. So something I did was talk to Matt and say, hey, let me do some of that. Let me take some things off your plate because you can really only handle one boulder at a time. And then seeing some of our friends who were dealing with a lot of pebbles is saying, hey, is there someone else at camp that can help you with this? So you can help with one of the bigger rocks. And in a way, not only does this help your team see how you're organizing and how everyone is using the same kind of organizational
Это очень сильно помогает нам.
outline, it's also really important for it to be shareable and updated so that when someone's feeling overwhelmed, or sometimes with our younger staff, if they felt like they did not have anything to do, this was a very easy reference point to, well, there's quite a few things to do, where can you help out? And it really removes that idea of, I have time to help, but I'm not sure what to do, or I don't know where to start. So I hope this was helpful for you today. I really, really appreciate being invited to come and talk to you. We actually have a lot of the Russian-speaking Jewish community at my camp, so I'm very excited to tell our director about this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Katie. Thank you very much. I will ask the question the audience in Russian language. Из того, что сказала Кейти, пожалуйста, вопросы сейчас или попозже? Если есть вопросы, может попозже. Okay, Katie, we will think about the questions and we will ask the questions a little bit later. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katie. We look forward now to learning from River from Venezuela.
Следующее выступление – это наш коллега из Венесуэлы, наш друг Ривер. Он является директором лагеря Ла Ланада, и лагерь в Венесуэле существует с 1994 года. Открыли несколько лагерей в других странах по типу тому же, как свой лагерь. Соответственно, наш Луис Франсиско Ривьера выступал в разных странах, был спикером в Америке и в других странах. Сегодня, наверное, первый раз выступает в России. Окей. Riva, we're very happy to introduce your presentation. Okay, go ahead.
Well, hello, everyone. Glad to be here. I'm going to be talking about how we use traditions as a driving force for growth in our camp, and how traditions has really been the major roots in order for our tree to grow big and strong, right? So Camp Leonada was founded by friends and family in 1994 with the goal of creating a program that helped people challenge themselves. It was supposed to be a challenging program from the get-go because we truly believe that from challenges come growth. And true to it, it has been kept as a camp that looks and feels very familiar and friendly. Whenever you go to one of our sessions, you really feel like you're part of a small community. So it is surprising to many of the newcomers to learn that we actually operate in 4 different countries with 5 different locations. So what really helped us make succeed? Well, as I said, we celebrate our roots wherever we go. For someone from Venezuela, going to one of our camps feels immediately familiar. The food, the music, the games, even team names are made in such a way that they feel connected to our country's deep history. In this section, I will tell you a little more about our journey as a camp and how it feels to people who are not necessarily privy to our culture, so people who are not from Venezuela attending to one of our sections, and how this translates into a camp for program, sales, and operations perspective, and a couple of tips on how you can adapt this to your own camp. So let's start about 60 years down the line in 2010 when we started this expansion. Specifically when we thought about opening a second camp in a different country. So at the start, we just were thinking about the bottom line. How can we get more campers and maybe tackle a different market? So we started sharing our plans with friends and family, specifically those we knew were living near or next to the locations we had our sights on. And we were just thinking there about building a camp that looked and feel like any of the other camps in that location. So we just wanted to emulate the traditions and even the language of this new location that we were setting aside, traditions and languages that were vastly different from our own. We just wanted to make another camp. More campers made sense to us. But we quickly realized that this wasn't the way to go. Our friends and family abroad told us that what they really needed was a way to keep connected to their roots. So we created a mirror image of our first camp in Venezuela. So same language as the first camp, same food, same traditions. It was a little bit counterintuitive because we were entering a new market, but with exactly the same product and with a different culture than the market had. But we had an advantage, and that advantage was community. In a globalized world like today, chances are you will find a community of like-minded individuals, of maybe shared traditions individuals, anywhere you go. So you will be able to find a community of just about any nationality wherever you go. So we reached out to the Venezuelan community in this new location, and the feedback was amazing. We had touched the very heart of nostalgia within the community. Parents were actually worried about their kids growing up without any connection to what they had grown up whenever they were a first generation migrant. So we really hit like the nail dead in the head there, and the reception was great. Now, I'm not saying that you should necessarily be looking around the world for communities and bring camp there. I'm saying that everyone or every organization needs to be looking out for this expansion. What I'm trying to reinforce here is that the way your camp grew is by realizing that our connection to the roots, it is a defining factor. And it was such a great defining factor that ever since we took that path, we've been using it for marketing. We've been really making culture and tradition one of the centric aspects of our camp program. We try to be more intentional about being connected to the roots. And we realized that that was something that kept our campers and our counselors coming back for more. It was a place where our history was celebrated in a fun way and not the boring way we usually see in schools. Sorry for educators, but outdoor education has always had the advantage of being a lot more being able to do things that kids appreciate a lot more, and being able to print it into content in a way that they enjoy it quite a lot more. And adults as well, not only kids, by the way. So for us, it was amazing. In 2010, we created our second site abroad. Then 6 years later, we had already established our second location and founded the third. 2 years later, in 2018, we founded the fourth. And just last year, we had our first station in our newest location. So right now we are in Venezuela, the United States, Spain, and Panama, and still looking to expand into different countries, because in a way we realized that bringing this sort of cultural exchange, even for people that are not from Venezuela, it's quite an interesting experience. So how does it look and feel for people that are not from Venezuela to attend one of our sessions? Well, it's pretty much the same as doing a cultural exchange. You will be exposed and immersed in a different language. You will be exposed and immersed in different traditions. We'll be exposed and immersed in different cuisines than your own. We try to be very open because we are very, very enthusiastic about our traditions, and we really enjoy them. We've done the homework of finding out what things we enjoy the most about them and how we can translate them to a program that kids enjoy and that kids love. So right now the ball just keeps rolling, and people fall in love, or counselors or kids fall in love with those traditions from a very early age, making it so they pretty much can't imagine camp any different way. For them, camp is the names that we have, the games that we play, the food that we eat, and those things really create this sense of community, of like-mindedness, of people that work together in order to improve themselves. Our values haven't changed. We still challenge people a lot in order for them to grow. We believe that taking people out of their comfort zone helps them grow in an amazing way. And that pretty much is the basis that our founders established in 1994. So how can you translate this into a camping program? What is the step-by-step in order for you to apply it? Well, I think the key word here, and it's not a keyword that I came up with in any way, it's something that a lot of people talk about in the camping community. The keyword here is being intentional. Okay, being very, very intentional about why you do things and how you do them. So everything from our team names, the games we play, the name we give to our meetings, the name we give to the different ranks. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a camp director. It could be the cacique, which is a word that probably Valerio won't be able to translate because it's a very Venezuelan word. And it's kind of like the chief of a native tribe from the Amazon. So yeah, why call it a camp director? That sounds so corporate. That sounds so within our community. It can be a cacique, or it can be instead of a coordinator, maybe just give it a simpler name, and we just call them Cordi, which doesn't mean anything. It's just the first letters of the word. And it starts having like our own language, something that is just within our camp. Whenever we design a special event, we try to make it, to connect it to some special event in history, or maybe a game. We make it so it looks and feels like some traditional economic activities specific to our land. And we make sure to package everything then in a way that kids are, I would say that the games are the bit of sugar that makes the medicine go down in some way, but then eventually all of those historic facts and all of those ancient traditions become the actual sugar. They become so accustomed to being proud of calling themselves Venezuelans, of calling themselves part of this community in La Llanada, that they just they don't really need the game in order to enjoy it. They just feel proud of it, and that's about the best that you can do, especially for your community, to foster a sense of healthy pride. A lot of pride is a very loaded word these days when you talk about national pride, especially, but it is important to have that connection to your roots, because that helps to build identity, that helps to build community, that helps to connect with people around you. And connected, we can achieve so much more than we can whenever we're on our own, as the ICF is a great example. So being proud of what you are and being open about sharing it is something that we can really foster if we really are intentional about keeping true to our traditions.
Thank you so much, River. We appreciate your words and your advice. Thank you so much.
Спасибо большое, благодарит Ривера.
And now
River, what is your real name? Is it really Luis Francisco Riviera. Is this correct?
So that's what says in my birth certificate. Other than that, I think only my mother calls me that.
Я говорю, назови свое настоящее имя полное. Как правильно называется? Правильно его зовут Луис Франсиско Ривьера. Это у меня написано в паспорте, говорит Ривьера, да, Ривьера, река. Это у меня в паспорте написано. Но все меня зовут как Ривер, река. Коротко и ясно. Поэтому, hello, привет, Ривер. Now we will call you River. Okay.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad we all know each other's names now. We'd like to welcome to the stage now Dimitri, our wonderful guest from Greece.
Хотели предоставить слово Димитрису, нашему замечательному другу из Греции. For the Russian audience, I will tell about Dimitris in Russian. Для русской аудитории я представляю Димитриса. Димитрис является одним из содиректоров большого лагеря «Ранчо». Некоторые из нас посещали этот лагерь во время европейской встречи в позапрошлом году в Греции. Он нас гостеприимно там принял, показал нам очень большой лагерь, потому что этот лагерь является не только лагерем, а как парк большой. И поэтому мы очень рады, что сегодня он принимает участие вместе с нами, вместе с ним наш коллега Алексия Сидерис, который является тоже директором лагеря, но лагерь Дельфи, это частный лагерь, тоже, и она является еще и членом Совета Международного сотрудничества лагерей. I introduced both Dimitris and Alexia. Go ahead, Dimitris.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for translating, because we haven't traveled since the lockdown, so my English are a bit problem now. So I hope you don't translate any syntax or grammar.
О том, что во время ковида очень сложно было общаться на английском, поэтому давно по-английски не говорил, переживает, что что-то не так будет, поэтому извините меня за грамматические ошибки. No one speaks English here, and even I have a lot of English grammars, no worries. Я говорю, не переживай, никто не говорит по-английски, даже я много делаю грамматических ошибок. Ты говори что-нибудь, а мы переведем. Go ahead.
Okay. So at the ranch, in some point a few years ago, we decided that we wanted to expand our period of working. Since the summer camp in Greece,
что наш лагерь будет
it's 2.5 months.
Позиции, как тематический парк, как спортивный центр, как летний лагерь. Keep going and I will translate everything simultaneously.
Okay, okay. So we have to make a little rebranding to take ourselves out of the camp, and we introduced ourselves in the Greek market as a theme park or a sports center, as well as a summer camp, of course, as it is our core business.
На местную общественность, вот он говорит о том, что мы, значит,
and we thought of creating some theme events during the year. That was the main idea. As we thought that our main advantage of the camp is that we are a safe place and a place for fun, both for kids and their parents. So I think in our industry, this is our biggest advantage. Also, we have the database of kids and their parents that were coming to the camp during the summer. So we thought that use this tank people in order to do some more events. So a few events that we do, it's Halloween, we do a Lego event, we do Christmas, Carnival. All these events have been created year by year. We had the target of adding an event every year of working. In the process, of course, we had a few events that we dropped them, or in some cases we added 2 events in the same year. But what I want to say that it is a long procedure, and it's not that we just decide to do 10, 15 events and we start. So this has taken us like 10, 12 years being in the position we are today. Almost every weekend we have an event at the ranch. Usually these events are for family and kids around the age that they're coming also to the camp.
Значит, дети от 8 лет и старше, соответственно, принимают участие в наших мероприятиях, как отдельно, так и вместе с родителями.
So by starting this procedure, and we have a lot of weekends, because we usually work during the weekends, that we were empty. So we decided that we should find some people that already run some events. Another advantage of the camps is also that they have very big facilities. With only few moderations, we can do a lot of things during the year. And not a lot of facilities like hotels or other facilities can host big events like camps can do. So, for example, there are some events that we do for adults, like a boot camp. It's a weekend for people from teams. They go to teams and they come and they have a weekend full of athletic program and very good nutrition. And it's like a 3 days boot camp, or we do Pilates, or we do big event like a literal, which was like you can see in the pictures, an event with obstacles and mark and everything. So the main idea, I won't stand on what we do, especially in events, but the main idea of this is that we have very big facilities and we can use them. But because we cannot do a lot of things at the same time, try to find people that already they're doing some events in other places in Greece, and try to attract them to come and do this event at the ranch. So, hard stuff, and after a lot of meetings, we managed to attract only a few people, but the outcome was very good, and mouth to mouth, more companies and more partners were very interested in having some events in our place. Now, sport events. Sport events is like the most important thing to us, except from the summer camp. What we do is that we do youth tournaments, football, basketball, volleyball, mountain bike, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo. The biggest advantage at the camps in general is that all these events usually these events take place in hotels and areas that, okay, they have very good sport facilities.
Значит, если раньше мероприятия проходили на территории отелей с различными затратами, то теперь, когда мы предложили это проводить на территории с хорошими подготовленными площадками, конечно, больше привлекло и в плане экономии, и в плане организационной.
This is like the easiest thing that we do, but it was something that we have to invest in sport activities. Sport facilities, I'm sorry. So all the environment is like more safe when it happens.
Средства в развитии, в строительство различных спортивных.
Not happening to a hotel and having transportation and buses to go from one court around another court. So this is like the biggest market for us in Greece. We run like 10 tournaments per year, and only for kids.
Значит, большие возможности, используя такие особенности природные, как тепло, хорошая погода, значит, у нас есть большие возможности развивать эти спортивные направления в будущем.
So in the way of all this that happened, actually the corporate events happened a little bit by accident. And what I mean by accident?
Фотографии тех, кто был в лагере,
as the family events, the adult events, the sport youth tournaments starting to grow year by year, we managed to attract a big number of people coming every year.
Все это есть, все условия для технических.
So we managed to do like 100,000 people coming, more for a daily trip or for a weekend.
И
So
особенно
through
такие
all the people, a lot of parents at the camp as well,
субботу-воскресенье, когда
work to a lot of
люди на работе, здесь вот можно
companies
проводить
that
такие
are
мероприятия.
familiar with corporate events. And they're starting to asking about maybe having an event at the RATS. So we're specialized. We also write conference at the presentation, but the conference, the less we do. Usually they're coming to us companies and corporate events that have to do with team
У нас
meetings
уже
and
несколько
workshops.
существует компаний, которые постоянно с нами сотрудничают и из года в год проводят одни и те же работы.
And especially for team building events, there's a big market there because the camp have very nice activities and it's very easy to moderate in order to accept all the corporate
Возможности лагеря
events.
очень удобно проводить такие мероприятия, как вы увидели, и для взрослых, и, соответственно, для детей, и для взрослых.
So our core business is the summer camp. That's
Ну, а самое основное наше направление – это, естественно, лагерь, и в летнее время мы проводим различные смены.
During the summer camp, that's 2.5 months, we try to host as many special
В течение
camps
летнего периода
we
мы
can.
работаем с посвященными сменам, проводим специальные смены в сотрудничестве с диабетической организацией. И вот видите здесь смены греческие,
So we started with the
греческого языка.
therapeutic camp Elpida, as you can see, is a camp for kids that had cancer.
И
So this is a very special and very needy
для детей со сложными болезнями, те из детей, которые имеют рак. И они
the camp that we have created with a very big association here in Greece. And it was a very challenging thing to us to see if we can support something like this.
Нам приходится быть очень изобретательным для того, чтобы, во-первых, дети не чувствовали себя ущербными, для того, чтобы...
And after that, we also hosted a diabetes camp for kids with diabetes in Greece. And we also
проводим для детей диабетиков.
And this year we started also the special need camp. It was a first year for us. So all this type of camps, like special camps, as we call it in the ranch.
Да, мы провели этот лагерь отдельно для диабетиков, потому что нужны отдельные условия.
Are very challenging of us to support. Are very interesting and give us the opportunity to share to the community. And I'm saying share because in most of these camps, it's a non-profit procedure for us.
Соответственно, нашей деятельности, о нашем лагере все очень хорошо знают и активно принимают участие.
And what it gives to us is the opportunity
что это дает нам возможность
to have a very good social to serve the community and have
очень хорошее распространение, иметь социальную хорошую молву о нашем лагере и, соответственно, несмотря на огромные размеры, у нас
because these events are very, very challenging and very needy events. Give us the know-how we can do more things during the winter or the summer. So if you have done, for example, a therapeutic camp for kids with cancer, it's very hard to do. Of course, it's very easy to do a corporate event in the future. So our clients usually understand that and feel very confident to trust us for doing more events.
Собираемся проводить другие дела.
What I wanted to say about the whole things, the whole presentation is that the starting point to all of this is the bond that exists between the kids and their parents with the camp. So you know that all the campers usually are very loyal to the camp they're going.
Мы очень активно работаем с родителями и с детьми, И делаем все возможное, чтобы те и другие, даже те, которые бывали в лагере,
And we're feeling that we're giving them the opportunity to visit us in different ways. And regarding the market, it's also a tank. Now that we have a lot of people coming through the winter, it's a big tank that can fit the summer camp, as well as the summer camp is a tank that can fit of the year.
Заполнены были различными мероприятиями, различными делами, связанными с местным сообществом.
This is our main things that we do. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you very, very much, Dmitry. We appreciate your information. It's wonderful to see the diversity of activities that are there. Thank you very much. And now we have a very cool thing. We'd like to introduce Georgi to be able to tell us a little bit about our adventure traveling to Mexico.
Я бы хотел представить слово нашему другу Джорги, который скажет несколько слов перед презентацией фильма о Мексике.
Дорогие друзья и коллеги, many camp directors are so busy that it's difficult to visit and see other camps. Some of you have traveled to camps during conferences like the European camp meeting and other Russian trips to Mexico, or this one, meeting in Tümень. ICF is developing a series of short videos, and these videos are tours of camps in different countries, so that we can share and learn together. Perhaps someday you'll let ICF make a video about your camp. You want to learn about camps all over the world. These videos are not marketing videos. They aren't staff training tours. They are a director-to-director behind-the-scenes interviews, a chance for us to talk together and look at our facilities and to study how it is we do what we do and to share with other camp professionals. So here we have an example. Let's travel to Camp Santa Ursula in Mexico.
Давайте путешествуем в лагерь Санта-Урсула в Мексике. Добро пожаловать. Кто показывает? Сейчас hold on. Я запускаю. Запускай.
Across the world, some camps are small and informal, others Across the world, some camps are small and informal, others are large and structured. Every camp greets campers to their site, provides shelter, food service, leadership, and program. The ICF Camp Study Tour videos attempt to capture the common elements of all camps, as well as the differences in leadership, philosophy, geography, and culture.
Люди состоятельные, решили организовать этот лагерь и просто сделать оазис. Там все. Там и животные, там и аттракционы. Это директриса.
And the place that we are all very excited to see. We have seen some parts of Santa Ursula in our Thanks to Camp video, and it is very exciting. So it would be wonderful to have a director-to-director tour around camp. But let's start with your tour, your journey. Can Tell us, how did you get to the chair and to the camp where you are now? What has your camp life been?
Okay, yeah, I will tell you a little bit about the story. My parents started this camp, and I was 6 years old by then, so I was a camper for so many years. So then I became, as all the story in many of the camps, and I started like a counselor in training. Then I was a counselor. Then I started to helping my dad and all the staff in the administration. And then I became the director.
Great. So some of the general details, where you're located, and the terrain, and some of the physical parts of camp.
Sure, for sure. Okay, San Luis Potosí is a big state, which is located right in the center of the country. Our state has the shape of a doggy, okay? And we are North Mexico City, and our weather is a dry weather. It's not as hot as in the north part of Mexico. We have a great weather for camping because we get some rain, but not much of it. So it allows us to do all the season very nicely. We usually do the high peak season from mid-May to mid-August.
Take us back to the beginning. Your mother and father, and it's passed through to you. Can you describe the camp mission, the philosophy? What brought you into camping, and what keeps you in camping?
Okay. When this property was acquired, it was a farm for cows, and there was just about 20 trees, maybe, and a small house, like what we call a pila, which is for the rain, for the watering system, and that was it. So we never imagined, my dad never imagined having a camp. But what happened is that long ago there weren't many attractions in the city, so some kids, friends, cousins came over the weekend, and we had a wonderful time together. So then came the idea about working for the kids, okay? And my dad started to convert some of the facilities. For example, this water deposit that was used for the watering system of the trees and what was, I don't know how to say in English, but what the animals eat. We call it alfalfa,
Yes, of course, alfalfa, perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot of alfalfa production in the zone. So this water deposit became a pool, and then a small river for rolling, then the horseback riding. But something very essential about Camp Santa Ursula is the motor racing love. So my dad was a driver for formulas when he was young, and this is like a family passion. So my granddad gave us some, go-karts for all the cousins, and we had a wonderful time. So my dad had to build like a small track, and then that was a very attractive thing for many kids. So all friends will call my dad, why don't you take the kids again for this weekend? Why don't you take them again for the next weekend? And that's how the idea of how the camp started to work.
It sounds like he created a camp before there was a camp.
Exactly. And then, there started to come many necessities about surrounding all the terrain, having much more security, and growing in many facilities. So that was the beginning. So we were founded on 1979, and say about half of the time my dad was the director, and half of the time with my mom, and half of the time I've been the director. And of course, our mission is to create the best experiences, okay? We need to create fun experiences, formative experiences, but most of all, memorable experiences for everyone that visits us. And it has to be in a unique place, okay?
It sounds like it's a unique place at Santa Ursula.
Yeah. But the real mission after this is creating a better society for Mexico.
Okay?
That's what we all wish for, isn't it? That we are really preparing children not to be in camp, but to be in society.
Yeah.
And to make it.
Like a more conscious society, concerned about nature, about well-being for everybody, and that's the real mission. Well, we achieve it through these great experiences.
Okay, I'm very excited to go on our little tour of camp. Can we start at the front gate? Or does it start in the city? How am I going to arrive at camp?
We always start in the door of the camp, okay? We usually don't include any transportation to the camp. Every children, so before the pandemic, we used to go to the airport and pick some children that their parents could not take to the door, okay? But that usually it's an arrangement that every family has to do. Something we don't get in charge of, okay? So we receive children in the gate, and depending on the type of camp is the different admission. For example, for the summer, which is like our, how can I call it? It's like of top of the camp service, because I say top of the camp because it's the longest one and where we can include all of our activities, okay? So families arrive to the door, and we do a camp tour. We can do it like in a golf car, or we can do it by walking, depending on the time family has. And they get to know all the camp.
Excuse me, this is the parents and the children.
The parents and the children, yeah. The first day of arrival of every session. I'm talking about the summer, because for schools, it's quicker, it's different. Schools come from all over the country, and they usually come by bus, and they all come together with some of their teachers. So they just arrive in the door, and we do the admission part, and that's it, okay? But for the summer, yeah, we do tours for the parents, because they just love it. And then they leave the children. We already have the teams assigned, and they leave. They leave, and we get in charge. But it's a very important day, the first day of a very summer session.
I'm hungry. So off to the kitchen and food service. And I would like to, so tell us how that works. In the kitchen, behind the scenes, as well as my experience out in the main room.
Okay, perfect. Well, behind the scenes, we have a chef, and like a major chef, then we have like a bread chef, a dessert chef. The food at camp is real good. It's really, really good. One of our strong parts of camp is the food. Children really love it, okay? So behind the scenes, we have about 20 people working in the kitchen. And what children get in turns, it's a buffet serving, okay? So they get in turns. By teams, they pass, they put their meals, and they sit in the table. In the kitchen, in the dining room, there's a lot of things going on, because we have like a Mexican night and Italian night. Every meal is different. We have like some like movie nights, and so everybody has to dress up, and there's always a lot of fun things going on. Okay, so once you have your meal, you have to go and put your plates, and then plates are washed, and after you can go to have some rest time after the meals.
Great. All right. So, what is my favorite meal at camp, or what are some of the meals that are most popular?
Well, you know, children love pizza. Children love pizza, but there's Japanese food. The Japanese night is very well accepted among everybody. And something very special about Camp Santa Ursula is we have a Mexican bread called concha, which looks like a shell, like a seashell. So like kind of, of very fine sugar on the top, making the form of a shell. And it's very traditional in Mexico, but the bread here in Santa Ursula is homemade. So the conchas is something everybody likes. So it's like something very favorite for all the children. Okay?
That's great.
But also,
is it a sweet? Is it a dessert?
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, it's sweet bread.
Great.
It's not a dessert, but we usually serve it in the breakfast or in the dinner.
Take us through the daytime. What are some of the daytime activities and the way the daytime routine will work?
Sure. Okay, so wake up time is 8 o'clock in the morning. They have to clean cabins, rooms, because everything is a competition and everything can gain points to your team. Okay, so you have to put your room very nice. Okay, and then breakfast is 8:40. So we go into breakfast by blocks, and we have to go singing and see which blocks gets the better cheers and everything, no? And then, as I said, after each meal, we have some time to rest, go brush teeth and everything. And then activities start at 10 a.m. So we have 3 morning activities, then snack time for everybody. And then we have, 2 activities, snack time, third activity, and then pools, aquatic activity for everybody. Okay, so we have different attractions. We have different pools, different water slides, and inflatables and everything. Okay,
So the whole camp is focused on the water for the same period of time.
Yeah. So what happens in rest time and in aquatic time is that all staff gets a position to be watching. We have a guard role, and they know their position, so every children can go to one or another pool. Okay, and then children that don't want to get into the water, they have other options of activities, the playroom or some workshops, etc. Okay, then comes lunchtime. For us in Mexico, lunchtime is usually later than you. We usually have lunch at 2:15. Okay. After lunch comes an absolute time. Absolute time, we got that word from Russian camp. In the school camps, it's rest time for about 30-40 minutes. They go into the room, they have a talk, they have like a very not very dynamic activity. They can have some, games, some painting, but it's time to be with your team. To talk about the day, to see what's going good, what can be better, etc. It's like a relaxed time, okay? But in the summer, because usually school camps are all the same age. They're about 12-year-old children. It's when they end up elementary school. But for the summer sessions that we have from 7 years to 14-year-old, we have, instead of the absolute, we have what we call workshops. And that you don't have to be with your team. You don't have to be with the elephants all the time.
Okay.
You give a previous to camp, you give these options, and they enroll in what they like. For example, these workshops, we have gymnastics, we have painting, we have mechanics in the go-karts, we have more specialized climbing, we have more specialized cycling, for example. What other? We have photograph. We have different, very nice workshops. So you go, maybe in a workshop, you can be with children from the different blocks, okay? And after,
we have something similar here that we call interest groups. And so you are really going to pursue the thing that interests you. And then other people that are interested in those things, you'll meet them there. As you say, they'll be older and younger, boys and girls. How do you choose? Can I go anywhere?
All our registration is online. So you get the options. So previous to camp, you get it. And there's, of course, there's a limited space. So if it's full, then you get another option.
Got it.
And we do, as usually the summer sessions are 2 weeks long. 1 week is a workshop, and then the second week you can choose a different one. Okay.
Got it.
There's some of them that you should stay the whole 2 weeks. For example, drama, because you need to, make the rehearsals and everything. We at camp, we have a lot of nature contact activities. Many of these workshops are in direct contact with nature. They learn to plant, to harvest, to do, for example, cheese out of the milk that they milk the cow.
Oh,
and
great.
all these great things.
What time is it now? This is the afternoon. You've had lunch, and then this period where you can choose.
Yeah, this period where you can choose starts at about 3:15, 1 hour after lunch, and it's for about an hour. Okay, so say we're now 4:15, and we need to start the afternoon activities, which are also 3 of them.
Okay.
Three more activities, and then shower for everybody. Okay, so half of the camp go to shower, and the other ones are in activities, and then they switch. And then comes dinner time. So same dynamic for the dinner. You go into the vlogs and everything. So every night is different. And after dinner, you have an activity for the whole camp, whether it's the treasure hunt, the disco night, the rally night. There's very different nights, competitions, and astronomical observation, safari night.
So you must have some staff that are just focused on preparing each evening's program.
Yeah, something everybody remembers and really likes is what we call the TV camp. So we have special staff working on filming different things through the camp, funny things, interview with the children, making up some imitation of a movie, something funny, some jokes, some news. It's like the noticiero, which is the news of the camp, what happened today, and this is transmitted every 3 days. And children, after the night activity or before the night activity, they go to the big screen and see it, and they just love it. Everybody wants to be in the TV camp.
Well, sure, all become stars. Comment a little bit. Clearly you've been in the industry now for many years. We're always interested to know about the bigger picture in society and also in the camping community. Could you talk a little bit about any of the challenges that are facing the camping industry, any difficulties that you're currently working with, and then how the association, where it is in its life and development?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of challenges, and everything is very expensive now. Prices is a challenge. A lot of government obstacles is also a challenge. Didn't used to be one, but now you have everybody's over you. They have to check everything. It's sometimes difficult to work. Sometimes I feel I have a very great place where we are doing good people. We are forming good people, but sometimes the surroundings are not really helping. And that's something that you have to struggle with. I think nowadays parents, we are, because I am a parent too, we overprotect them. And sometimes that's good for some of the aspects, but not so good in others.
Right. How about this? Can you speak a little bit about the camp movement, the camp industry, and hopes for the next few years?
Yeah, sure. We've become closer and stronger as the Mexican Camp Association. We really support each other, and I think one of our hopes is to do industry more professional through standards. That's a real hope. Every year there's new camps, but they're not very well established. So we've been developing advanced standards for camps, and we would like that all camps can meet with these standards, or with most of them. Because some camps work very, very hard in doing quality services and providing great experiences. The more we are all involved in this, and the more camps want this, I think it would be easier, and in Mexico, camp industry, it's not at all recognized by law, by government. So we would like, or hope is to become stronger, and that they look at us as they can look at schools as a real need for children. We have to teach government who we are and what we work for.
Right.
It's very different. For example, sometimes I enter some, town halls from the ACA, and it's incredible how the White House is behind them with all these, COVID protocols. I hope we could have some support like that.
Mhm.
But it's all that have to do the protocols, and it's all that have to teach how to do things. But we never lose hope. I think camps will always be camps. I think camps are more necessary than ever, and I think people understand that. And the sooner or later, government should understand and support this movement.
I'm right with you.
Mhm.
Great idea. You and I have met through various camp meetings, but first and foremost through the ICF, the International Camping Fellowship. How did you get involved? How did that start for you? I'm grateful that it happened, but I'd love to hear.
Sure had to be through the Mexican Camping Association.
Mm.
I think that was the link to you.
Of course, the ICC was in Mexico in 2005.
Exactly. But by then we were already members, because I remember having our logo.
I remember it too. In fact, I have done a small seminar on how many camps in Mexico have the ICF logo on their staff shirts. And
Yes,
I remember yours very well.
Yes, so that was in '95, and we were already members. So the first contact, I really don't remember how it was, but we are very proud.
Yeah.
We love it. And then we met our friend Valerie, and that strengthened everything with the interchange of staff and also children. We had 5 or 6 children from Russia that came 2 years ago. That was great. And then staff, we had staff 2 years. And we really love this interchange.
Yeah.
Now we have staff interested in going to Russia this year. We already have 2 or 3 of them. And I hope this keeps growing and growing and getting strong.
Очень хорошая гостеприимная директриса. Ждут нас на посещение мексиканских лагерей, как соберемся. Каждый год организуем, в этом году тоже в марте месяце. Если вдруг будет желание, скажите, в ближайшее время на сайте разместим информацию.
Very welcome, always welcome. Thank you very much.
All the best. Muchas gracias.
Bye.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful adventure to Mexico.
Thank you very much. It was very touching. Jogi, you can pass to Ursula, Santa Ursula, all the greetings. And it was very, very interesting to watch all this tour to Mexican camps. Okay,
excellent.
Very well.
We have 3 things to wrap up. We have about Fari to welcome everyone to International Camping Fellowship, some words from Carolina to invite us all to Spain, and then we'll have a short time for questions and answers. So let's turn it over to our wonderful brother Fahreddin.
Нас еще затем Каролина пару слов скажет, и потом ответы и вопросы. Okay, Fahreddin, go ahead.
Hello, dear friends. I feel like I'm looking at my Russian family. It's been so great to see you all in good shape. Ladies are beautiful, men are handsome, and it looks like you're having a great conference.
Девушки, женщины, очень рад вас всех видеть, и как будто лично с вами сейчас присутствую.
So, Tümen, the conference in Tümen was my first conference in my life with Russians.
Хочу напомнить, что в Тюмень я приехал первый раз, было самое мое первое путешествие за пределы в качестве человека, который связан с лагерем. Keep going.
Many things I remember wonderful, many things I remember, but we don't talk about them. Just what happens stays there.
Я помню все, что происходило здесь, но не буду говорить. Все, что происходило в Тюмени, останется в Тюмени.
So I'm sure. I'm sorry, I was not able to be there this time because we are dealing with our ski camps in Turkey.
Сейчас возникла непредвиденная ситуация в Турции у меня.
But unfortunately, unlike Russia, there is no snow on the mountains. So mountains which we are supposed to ski next week are full of butterflies, birds, and all green.
Тяжело. Сейчас занимаемся решить все разумные вопросы. Fahreddin, we also have a lot of problems. У нас тоже много проблем. Give us greetings and we'll have to go on. We know that we have a lot of problems, including Erdogan. Мы знаем, какие проблемы.
I am sure you're having wonderful meetings, and I congratulate the success of the meeting in advance. And I wish you good luck. And I look forward to see all of you in Spain soon. And we'll do our best to have many more Russian camp friends in Spain. And all the best.
Настроены на все хорошее. Увидимся в ближайшее время в этом году на наших различных мероприятиях, включая Конгресс. Всего самого доброго.
Thank you so much, Fahreddin. Thank you very much. And now we'll hear some words from Carolina in Spain.
И наша Каролина. Давай, пожалуйста. Okay, go ahead, Carolina. Bienvenido.
Hola, amigos. This is very important. You learn from now on. Hola, amigos. My very best friends.
Hola, amigos. Привет, друзья. Hola, amigos.
Hola, amigos. Okay, first of all, I'm very happy to be here with you. Just 1 year ago, I was there with you. And I was very happy to notice that the camp was the Congress or the meeting was organized so well. I loved the camp that we visited. And the most important thing, that language barriers don't exist. I made lots of good friends. I enjoyed my time there in Tümень. So I hope that when you come to Spain, language barriers won't be there, and we will all be really good friends.
И таких друзей, которые встретятся в Тюмени, никаких барьеров лингвистических не будет, когда мы встретимся в Испании.
Yes. So first of all, I would like to let you know that we have already 20 different countries have, well, people from 20 different countries have signed up already for the Congress. So that is really a very good success, and I must say that the country which has the most people already signed up is Russia, obviously. So I hope that we can have all the visas ready for you so that you can come over. I encourage all of the people who are there attending the meeting that haven't signed up yet to ask Valery Kostin and Valery Dolkin to help you out, because it is going to be one of the most successful congresses with all your help and attendance. So please sign up. You won't regret. We offer all the best. Tourism, good food, good people, a lot of speakers who are going to benefit from your experience. Well, all the best for the Congress. So please sign up, and I hope to see you soon.
Excellent, excellent.
Спасибо большое. Okay.
Welcome. So we are running very close on time. I think our official time is over, Valery. I'm not sure we have time for question and answers.
Гвен говорит о том, что мы практически закончили время, всем дали высказать слово. Наверное, время для вопросов больше нету. И что-то такое еще хотите сказать?
Большое спасибо за информацию. Мы всю ее примем. Если будут вопросы, мы вам напишем письма. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much for all the information. Special thanks to our speakers. If we have any questions, we'll write down all the questions. And thank you very much for all the people who participated, even without saying anything. like Damba, like Alexia. It's very wonderful to have all of you. We love you. We'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Спасибо большое. Спасибо, спасибо.
All the camps, including Robin Hood, including Vites, including Ale Farusa, including Серебряный Bor, including Energetic, all people missing you very much from different parts of Russia. We love you. You are always with us. Всем скучаем по вас, вы всегда с нами.
Пока-пока. Всем спасибо.
Bye-bye.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.